What is going on, everybody? As you can see, special guest Pete. Pete, how we doing, man?
Doing good. Is this the unemployment line where I come to get my check?
Yeah, this is what you do now. You get up early and you make like 3 cents an hour doing this. This is where it's at. I also, Jake, shout out to chat for bringing the right energy so far. We got Weston with like morning you nut sacks, and then Joseph morning my fellow pores. So I'm glad this is the energy we have early today.
Yeah, I mean, nothing like waking up and feeling poor. I think that's a thing. And I've done the 10 a.m. morning streams. I haven't done a 9 a.m. I am feeling my energy levels a little low. So do your energy levels pick up throughout the show, or are you just good to go now at 9?
I think it's real hit or miss. I think it depends on what happened the day before. I think I did 3 streams yesterday, so I can feel it is good that you're here today, because I think otherwise this would be a 22-minute show. I'd be pretty aggravated with the chat. I started yelling at somebody in the chat last night, so it wears on you a little bit.
What 3 streams how did you have 3 streams yesterday?
So we had the morning show that we've been doing. Then we had our Top Shot Take show at night. And then we rolled out a Moment Ranks show, a fantasy show that we're doing just for a little Patreon. But we're doing a free version of that. Like, what a lead-in, Pete. That was like a great lead-in.
I'm just setting you up to get that cheddar, Mike. I know how hard it is for us unemployed independent content creators out there.
Yeah. So, hey, what's like the first week or two of this new lifestyle been like?
Well, that's the thing I keep saying is like everyone is now expecting me to just like announce like 5 different things. I was like, guys, I was already pushing it to the max. Can we just keep doing what we were doing? But yeah, just starting to put more kind of effort into all of the individual shows and stuff I've been working on. But yeah, I'm excited about the Moment Ranks thing too. And I was reading an article from John Boy Beats too yesterday about the scoring system. And now that I actually understand it a little more and I'm not just like mashing buttons, I think it is becoming kind of an interesting concept.
It is. It's pretty cool. It's slick. And I like the boost thing. They're figuring it out a little bit. I think they're going to still continue. I hope they continue to tweak or like create a tier system. I love the idea of like, if your collector scores this number, you can only compete with this group of people. Cause like, every once in a while, you'll see the person at the top of the leaderboard for the day that roll out 5 cosmics. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to be able to mess with that.
Yeah. And I think too, what's going to be interesting for people, obviously to level the playing field, like they couldn't have, it's like using 10 moments because then people with better collections start to have an advantage. On the other hand, the ownership stuff is going to actually really come into play. And I think that's going to be interesting for people who haven't played DFS, realizing how important it is to be unique, and especially when the prizes are super top heavy in those large contests. And it's like, it's painful to not use your LeBrons and whatever in those, but it's like, if you want to have a unique lineup at the top, you're going to have to get uncomfortable with some of those other plays.
And that's what it was like last night. And I haven't looked at who won last night, but when I was doing the video yesterday, I knew Ben Simmons was going to be a popular play, but everyone was going to play the Ben Simmons assist because I think it's a little bit cheaper and, he hasn't been scoring. But I was looking at the 10-game average, which is what the boost is based on, and he only needed 11 points to get that boost. So I was like, forget that. I'm playing the 2-point play because that's going to be a lot different. And then I think he ended up with like 20-something points last night. So I think like the way that, because the first week that I was making lineups, I was doing the same thing where I was just like picking the best guys versus like actually looking at the moment and how the boost comes into play. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And if anything, somebody said this yesterday, what's nice about it is like while we're getting our ass kicked in the marketplace, it's like, oh, well, I'm going to distract myself and use my moments elsewhere.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that what everyone has been asking for? Like utility, utility. I mean, we need things to distract ourselves and have fun with through a bear market, Yeah. And being able to play DFS, I think is one that is very good.
What have you been doing with the marketplace right now? Like, how have you been, are you just kind of like locked into, this is what I've spent, this is my collection now, and we're riding this out? Or are you still surfing around?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't made like just independent purchases from the marketplace. I have, been completing this godforsaken Cool Cats challenge. Shout out for the 30 for 30 Discord, which I assume we'll talk about. But yeah, yes. I've been completing challenges, getting some of I got the throwdown packs and stuff. But yeah, I have I have a watch list of moments, but yeah, also now becoming unemployed, Mike, it really puts all of your financial decisions into focus. And before, where you can just kind of click and just be like, yeah, why not? Now I'm like, should I really be doing this? So I do feel in general, my season 1 bags are packed, but there's still some stuff I'd love to get my hands on.
Yeah, there were so many things that were priced out right away that I was like, when I got in, and thanks to you, or I'm upset with you. I can't decide how I feel about it. But I think, did you do a show was it with Peter Jennings, and then talking about the Bales article that was the introduction to Top Shot?
I did. Yeah. I was actually looking at the timeline the other day because we were figuring it out. And Bales wrote his article on January 14th. And then I did the show, Davis and I, with LG from the First Mint on the 17th. I interviewed Jack the next day on the 18th. And then the 20th, Peter, Jack, and I did the first show that became Club Top Shot. So that was all within like a span of a week.
Yeah. I remember you doing one of your Friday at noon shows that you do during the fantasy or during the football season. And that was like the first I heard about it. And you like started talking about it. I was like, God damn. And I feel like I bought like 15 packs while I was watching that YouTube show. And that was my introduction to it.
That's how you were in Top Shot early. If you remember the days where you could just go and buy 15 packs at once, the good old days.
I know. And then, yeah, God, that feels like forever ago too, for that to only be January. But yeah, I'm with you. I've made a list that I'm just kind of watching, and it's funny. I had like price points. I was like, when it gets down to this is where I'm snagging stuff.
Yeah.
But now it's well below that, but it keeps going down. So I kind of don't want to jump yet. I want to keep watching this because I feel like it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah. And I've heard that sentiment a lot, and also, we're talking about that through like a buying angle of like, I just want to wait for lower lows. But I've also heard it from people who are like, well, I'd rather just sell now and then buy back later because I think it's only going to go further. And I think that when it comes to selling, that's the sentiment that triggers off, all the undercutting and all of the market tanking, which is an unfortunate sentiment for the majority of the community to have right now.
Yeah. I will say too, today was the first day I've looked at my account valuation in a while, and going back to like being unemployed and purchasing things. When I was up quite a bit of money, I was like, oh yeah, let's go. Today's the first day that my account is in the red since starting.
Wow.
And now I'm like, okay, I need to chill maybe.
Yeah. I had my two like buys that just really keep me above water is when they had that first 1K hollow drop. And I bought the Zion Series 1 block debut moment and the Luka Series 1 debut, his dunk. And I got those for $1,000 each because everyone was listing stuff to have money to do the pack drop. And those have been like my two best buys, are still probably the best moments I have in my collection. And even to this day through the bear market, it looks like it's still about a 2x on where I bought it, despite being much, much higher about a month ago. It
was a bummer to realize that the Luka Cool Cat was the thing that was like really lifting my account up for such a long time. To see that down to 800 is a real tough.
I actually think that was my moment too, where I realized, wait, maybe some of this is a little frothy and overinflated when my number one most valuable moment is a Luka Cool Cat. That should have been a screaming warning sign.
A Luka Cool Cat common moment. I also remember, and like we all were so blind to it, but Top Shot kept saying like, hey guys, this is a common challenge. This isn't supposed to be worth a lot. This is, and then everybody went nuts in the second one, and we were reminded. Actually, shout out Plunge Father. I think he was the one who did a video on it. He was like, if my calculations are right, that AD is going to be worth 500.
I mean, you encouraged me right now to pull up my moment ranks, and I'm scrolling through things, and I remember one that's shocking to me right now is in one of the first moments I spent a decent chunk of change on was the Vince Carter final 3-point shot there. And I mean, that's now down under 1,000. And for a long time, like if anyone makes a list of like, what are the coolest moments on the site, like everyone always references the Vince Carter, which I'm in agreement with. And it's now actually getting to a pretty affordable price point.
Dude, that's like the Vince is one of them. The Zion and Ja debuts that you already mentioned. I mean, Zion and Luka debuts that you already mentioned. The Ja debut, the Jokic debut, like all of those were at astronomical prices for such a long time that I was like, oh, that sucks. I'm just never gonna have one of those moments. And now I'm like, I'm at not only I might get more than one of those moments now. It's getting to a place where I'm like, holy shit. We're Greg and I co-own a Tobias Harris holo. And I think we're the lowest ask out there right now for $14.50. And the reason we put it out there, we were like, what could we get with $14.50? Right now, you could get a Jokic and a Dame Top Shot debut for that. Like, it's a no-brainer.
And that's Andy was saying that on Club Top Shot the other night of like, you know, we're talking about that LeBron holo that sold for like 32,000 and he was saying, we were also talking about that other LeBron that was listed for 250,000, I think the Cosmic. And he was saying like, if I could snap my fingers and convert, you know, 250,000 worth of my Series 1 Commons moments into that, I would. Obviously, that's not how that works. I mean, the amount of time going through the marketplace, selling all that, you'd have like $50,000 of slippage and fees and that. But I think everyone does kind of feel that sentiment of wanting to level up. And that might also be contributing to the undercutting, to the sell-offs, because everyone has that same idea. I'll sell this and then buy this cheaper. But I do think it has kind of a snowball effect on things.
No, I think you're right. And that's why I think we're going to see, especially with like a holo pack. I think they announced yesterday, right? So we're going to see a holo pack. We're going to see a finals pack. So we've got 2 legendary packs to go and 2 rare packs to go. I think they're going to do a playoff rare, and I don't remember what the other one was. But with those 4 packs incoming and everyone with the same thought process of just kind of like trying to build up that dapper balance, I feel like we're really going to go a lot lower before we get higher. Which I kind of want to talk about this with you too. Since you were like the captain of the Top Shot content creators, like the first one out there with Club Top Shot. I'm in this spot right now where I'm almost feeling a little weird with it going down as aggressively as it is. I'm still super bullish on it long term. But are you feeling any sort of like, oh man, I'm talking about Top Shot a lot, and just not responsibility is too big of a word, but that's the word that's coming to mind right now.
Well, first of all, Mike, you're talking about Top Shot far more than I am. I mean, Club Top Shot at this point, we talk about it. I don't know. It's like a third of the show, sometimes a fifth of the show, because we've definitely expanded to talking more about the larger NFT world and DeFi and all that. So to me, that helps. Like, I always think of the phrase like a watch pot doesn't boil. And I was talking about this in my Discord the other day too, where I feel like there's kind of like 2 levels of engaging with Top Shot. There's like the long-term horizon where you have those Series 1 moments, the things you want to hodl long-term, and you're just putting those on a shelf. And like whatever's happening in the marketplace with them, like that Zion block, like I don't care. I'm taking that for the long run. But then we also love Top Shot, right? So we want to interact with it on a daily basis. And that's where I think the utility, the moment ranks, the DFS stuff, the challenges, the quests, that's where it's fun, because it's not like we all just want to buy our moments and pack up and then check back in 5 years. So I think it's like, but then from a psychology standpoint, that's hard to do, because you're having to compartmentalize. This is a long-term investment that I don't need to sweat, but I still really want to engage and have fun with that platform. And so I think that's the thing we're all trying to tightrope walk. Yeah.
I think at times too, I've felt like, I can't believe we're doing this on YouTube and not in a private conversation, but it felt like an orientation leader of sorts, where there's everyone's feeling like pretty nervous. And then I'm like, as their first day of college, and I'm like, don't worry guys. Like, yeah, it's a little rocky right now, but 4 years down the road, this is going to be some of your best memories of your life. And so it's, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think that's tough too, because you don't want to end up feeling like you're this salesman for Top Shot of like, no, don't worry, guys. Everyone put your money in. We're going to the moon, and like making, do we have any Top Shot TikTokers, making like Dogecoin-esque songs? Like, you don't want to be in that vein there, but like, I think it's fine to be like, I still really enjoy this. I love going through the marketplace. I love finding moments that I want to collect. I think that's completely fine.
Yeah. And I think, and you mentioned this, and I know MBL, I think, talked about it either on the First Mint or on Club Top Shot, but the whole idea of like, right, we want to interact with it daily. We want to like be in the Top Shot streets and mess around with it. And you're right. Like until we see like more utility, like the moment ranks, and just so, like if we can do more stuff on the platform besides just like come and look at the marketplace and look at our account valuation, the better. And I think hopefully we're going to see that stuff evolve sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and I think like even just like little stuff. Like I thought doing the tag for the $16 credit for NBA Top Shot, like even just, this sounds so stupid, but just the act of like, oh, your guys' technology is pretty slick. I put my tweet in here and it immediately validates for my account, and then I get the $16. Like stuff like that is just fun. It keeps you engaged, and I do think that's the route to go. Of like, you know, everything right now or up to this point has been so pack driven. We've seen the economics, the EV of these packs now start to slip. So people aren't quite as excited. And now I feel like Dapper should be pushing people toward the marketplace. And I think these little stimmies, I suggested on my show Lulz a few weeks ago, like a gift card for the marketplace. And I've seen people suggest like rake back type things for high volume purchasers. I think it's time to start incentivizing people to now head to the marketplace, where I think there's moments in the marketplace right now that are probably more EV bets than chasing the unknown of a pack. And I'm glad that we've gotten to that point. I just think now people need to realize that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we have gotten to that point with the packs too. I mean, from a lot of the conversation that I'm seeing both in the Discord and the chat, like it does seem like there's way more hesitation about a holo drop than there was the last time around. And I still think it's going to sell out because it's only going to be like 2,500 packs or whatever it is. So I imagine it still sells out, but it's probably not 150,000 people in line this time around. I think there is a little bit more hesitation, and I think people might just be tired of dropping $1,000. I think that might be part of it.
I mean, and like, what would you rather have like with your 1,000? Because that Jokic debut moment, the MVP of the league, is around $1,000 right now.
I know.
I mean, I prefer the Jokic debut moment over the holo pack. I don't know. Maybe that's dumb.
No, I think you're right. I mean, honestly, I think I was saying this. I hope to get in line, miss the pack, and then buy other stuff. Like I know I'm still going to get in line, but if I miss the pack, it's like, okay, cool. You're going to get a Jokic and some, because the Jokic is down. I think it's like down to 700 right now, which is just, it's so crazy to me because again, the MGLE is at like 1,800, and that was where the Top Shot debut was for so long. Let me just double checking right now. Do you still have that Cosmic fractional ownership? Yes, 789. 789.
Brian and I were talking about that last night. I mean, Brian has the lion's share of it. I of course, famously only have 1/10 of it as a fractional thought leader. But we were talking about it because did you see that dummy sale, the misclick, the 4,250?
Oh, man, that's brutal.
That guy, Andrew, he's in my Discord, and I mean, like, I'm stoked for him because you like live for those moments. But then like the guy is a friend of NBL, and he was like on Twitter, hey man, like, congrats, but is there any way you'd send that back for a fee and stuff like that? I'm like, oh man, that's such a tough spot.
So yeah, what do you do in that spot? You're the one who scooped him for 4,250.
So honestly, this is like the brutal truth. I would send it back. Personally, like I know NBL, I would feel that. And this is a true, like if I was just an Anon guy, I wasn't friends with NBL, I didn't know any of this, like whatever, I've been grinding on Top Shot, like I'm probably just keeping it, like truth be told. And that's why it's such a tough spot, because there's like two different versions of me that would do different things. But yeah, I think you just have to live with it and learn from that lesson ultimately.
Yeah, I know, I'm with you. I was trying to think, like, if this was online poker and someone made a disgusting misclick and we're online, it's like, dude, not a chance, man. I'm keeping that. Yeah. But when it's out in the public like this and you're and someone I know, I'm the same way. I'm probably giving that back.
Yeah, and I don't know. I get it. I think I do think good things happen to good people in general too. Yeah. I like on Club Top Shot, Andy has been giving out some insanely nice gifts. Like over the past few months, he's given out probably thousands and thousands of dollars in gifts, and it's just like Andy recognizes that is very true. That is literally the duality of me. But yeah, I get it. And I remember in early on in the Top Shot, there was the Devin Booker Cosmic that sold way under, and a guy in my Discord was able to snipe it, and then he resold it to Hertzig and those guys from Own the Moment. And so it was like this win-win thing where it was like a faceless guy. No one knew who did it. The guy who sniped it had a great windfall. And then Hertzig bot gets it at a good discount. So it's like everybody wins there.
Everybody wins except for that one guy.
Except for the one guy that we don't know.
Oh man. I wanted to talk to like I was thinking about, like I mentioned, poker and DFS, and I know you're deep in the DFS streets. I've found that I think I'm handling some of these L's that I'm taking in the marketplace and in my account a little bit better because I'm familiar with losing in daily fantasy sports. Like that, I understand the risk assessment or the risk investment that's happening, where it's like I know that like once I put that money in there, it's gone. And like if it comes back like tenfold, cool. But I feel like because of that experience, both in like poker tournaments and also in daily fantasy, I've got like a little, maybe it's a justification that I have that allows me to do it. But have you felt that at all?
Well, I think that's very interesting because with poker, you know, what do you always say when you get your chips for a poker tournament? You do the buy-in, like those are now your ammo to win the tournament. Like you can't think of those as like, well, this chip is technically worth $44. Like, no, like you will freeze up and not play optimally. Same with DFS. Once you play your entry fee, like it doesn't matter. You're not building a cash game lineup to win a tournament. Like those are your bullets. I think what's different with Top Shot is these are collectibles, and we naturally gravitate toward collectibles that resonate with us, that have special meaning, that we think is cool. And so I think it's much harder to detach that kind of emotional connection with it as like, I'm just firing this bullet at Zion Williamson. I'm buying 20 Luka Cool Cats, shout out Osimo, because I just see this as bullets in the chamber in the marketplace. I think that's harder for people to do with collectibles. Yeah,
I think it is a justification that I've had with my spending. I think that's what I've used. It's like, oh, it's the same thing for me. Where it's probably not, but that is the justification I've used.
Well, and that's too, I see people saying with that same logic of, okay, I think Top Shot's still going to go further down in valuation. I'll sell now, buy back later when things start rising again or whatever. And it's like, once things are rising, if you were susceptible to those emotional swings, you're going to be like, no, we're going to the moon, and not want to sell again.
I know. That's so true. I'm the same way with when everything was going to the moon. I think we talked about this offline, but remember when Josh Hart joined? And all of a sudden his prices like went nuts, and I had his metallic gold series 1, and I'm like, when he's live on stream ripping packs, I'm gonna put this baby on the market. And it just kept going up, and I'm like, I'm gonna hold on to it. And now it's worth like $150, and it's like, all right, you know, if I'm not gonna sell it there, I'm not gonna sell it now. Like we're riding this out.
Yeah, I mean, those were, again, some of the fun moments of the early days where we were all hunting for any bit of like an alpha leak of like, oh, wow, you know, Harrison Barnes is going to be on the Top Shot stream tonight, or, oh my God, Bogdan's going to be the face of Top Shot in Europe. We got to get in on that. Like there were so many of those little things. I mean, the epitome was Mark Cuban randomly referencing a Maxi Kleber moment in his NFT article, and people just being like, Maxi Kleber to the moon.
See, that to me, that was when I was excited to have some basketball knowledge, because I know like early on it was maybe like 50-50 of basketball fans and crypto fans. When Maxi Kleber was getting pumped, I was like, guys, hit the brakes. I promise.
Yeah. And those were wild days where just it seemed like anything was a catalyst. And it's, again, in a bull market, everyone feels like a genius because regardless of your rationale for an investment, everything was going up. So it's like, yeah, of course Maxi Kleber's going up because the entire market is, not because Mark Cuban referenced him.
One of my biggest L's that I've taken is I was looking at a CJ McCollum Series 1, and it was like 175. The marketplace goes down for maintenance. CJ tweets out, "Hey, what's this Top Shot thing?" Comes back up. It's $400, and I buy it. And now it's under 100. It's just like, man, there's so many wild swings early on. Dude, like outside of Cool Cats too, is there any, like, what's your biggest L been?
Oh man, I'm looking at Cool Cats is definitely one of my biggest L's. I mean, a lot of my big L's were B, I was early. I was buying on the marketplace in mid-January, and I had no clue what I was doing. As you know, my NBA knowledge is fairly limited. And I was just like, if I would have deployed my capital just with any ounce of thought, I would be so much more well-positioned. I'm buying like, Vucevic, like first round, like fadeaway jumper. Like, I'm like, sure, why not? Like the amount of stuff I was just buying because I bought the Giannis MVP moves. I was like, he's the MVP. And like, this is a limited edition, and just not like understanding the marketplace. And then when I hear back to how like sharps, like, come into the market and they're evaluating it, they're trying to apply the dynamics to the card market and how that might play out here. And I was just like mashing buttons. And I just think for me, it's like the opportunity cost that I wasted of being early, but being an idiot is my biggest L.
Yeah, I think for me too. And I'm not someone who's super into the card industry. And I didn't take the time to like research it a little bit, but I mean, it makes perfect sense. It's like, there's 4 or 5 people everybody cares about, and target those guys. And instead I was like, hey, Malcolm Brogdon's a really good basketball player, and so Malcolm Brogdon should be worth a lot. And he's not. Malcolm Brogdon is not worth a lot, even though he's a good basketball player. So like taking all of those other things into consideration, like I really do. I think that is one of the advantages a lot of people who are getting in now will have, is they've seen a lot of the waves and the crashes early, so you can like use that information to start collecting versus just like taking wild swings.
Oh, I can give you my biggest L here now that I'm scrolling through moment rank. So basically, once I made like the shift of like, all right, I want to focus on studs, series 1 debut moments. And I was kind of going through my checklist, and some of them were going to always be unattainable. The LeBron, the Harden, the Curry, didn't have those, but I was going down and I wanted the Jason Tatum base moment, and I was waiting to snipe it. And I ended up getting it at like 1,700 in mid-March, and I was feeling very good about it. But that was still when we were coming down from the peaks. And now I believe it's at like 681 is what mine is valued at. So I'm like a $1,000 loss on that one, where it was like, I'm checking off my series 1 moments. And like, I'm sure we all agree, we're still stoked on Tatum long-term, but it was another one of the things showing how fragile it is. When you aren't just buying like the elite of the elite at the top of the market, you're probably going to get burned. Yeah,
you're going to get burned. Man, speaking of the series 1 stuff too, that was before the badges, and it really took me a while because I'm dumb. I mean, like I really could have done the research, but to figure out which series 1 was the Top Shot debut, for a while I was like, oh, it's whatever one has the less mint number. Like, and I really made a couple of purchases based off that. And then I was like, oh no, that's not the truth.
Yeah, I think that I know. And that was like a fun little edge. I mean, I was always just doing like whichever one also had the same MGLE moment is what it was, which ended up being helpful. But yeah, it did feel like it just even that extra added work you would hope would have given you an edge at the time before it became screamingly obvious with the badges, which were the first moments. And then the badges didn't really have an impact in the marketplace to begin with.
That's my favorite thing about Top Shot just in general is we value the rumors way more than the actual thing itself. I mean, we saw it with the MVP, we saw it with the All-Star selections, we saw it with the badges, then we saw it with the marketing, like the marketing from this weekend. And I think you said it either in LOLs or another show you did where you were just like, hey, we just tweeted a thing out and then got $16. That's awesome. And it is awesome. I think what happened though is they like winked at us being like, hey guys, get ready for this weekend. And then we all were like, everyone's getting a car. like we build up these things and we go nuts with them.
I know the funny thing is I understand now hearing the context of what happened. I missed them hyping that up being the event. I just saw the thing for like $16 free. I was like, sure, I'll tweet out a Facundo Campazzo assist and call it a day. So I had no expectations. It was just pleasantly surprised. But like you said, most people thought they were getting something special.
Yeah. And now, so this is a good transition to the Cool Cats Discord because the 30 for 30, I'm a little nervous. We're doing the same thing here where we're all taking that Cool Cat L together. And there's a small group of people being like, guys, there's Top Shot rewards collectors. So not only are we getting a LaMelo Cool Cat, but we're also getting a LaMelo autograph or something. Like we're building up like, oh, we're getting a holo pack for free. And it's like, guys, sometimes we get L's.
Yeah, to me, it's like I'm viewing this as when I'm going to look back at my Top Shot collection a long time. I'm going to look at this Cool Cats challenge, and it is going to be the single thing I remember most from these first few months of Top Shot, and it might even. I don't know. I don't even know if I will ever complete a challenge of this scope again. Like
No.
it's probably doubtful. Honestly,
No
I mean, how many moments? 29 moments you needed
no,
for
never
this?
again.
But I appreciate the sentiment of the Discord and this idea of like, hey guys, let's not just all undercut each other. We all worked hard and put a lot of money and time into completing this. Let's maybe just hold it for a little bit and see how things go.
Yeah, I do love that. I love that aspect of it. I do think that's fun. Yeah, Beamer says it's the 69 420 all over again, which I don't hate.
But this is even like 69 420. The spirit of it, I guess, is the same, but this is even like less of a meme. It's just like, just don't fucking sell your LaMelo the second you get it.
Yeah, and I like it. Reminds me not to connect this to improv, Pete.
Please do.
It's like Plunge Father is kind of like, everybody get in here. Everybody get in here. Let's all get on the same page, please.
We're playing a giant game of Zip Zap Zop with Pledge Father.
Yeah,
I got your back. I got your back.
Yeah, and I God, I hope that works. It is wild. They've got over 400 people in there already.
Yeah, it was. It's fun. I like that idea. And again, the problem with it is there's always going to be an undercutter. I do feel like I always see on Twitter, everyone like someone has that galaxy brain idea of like, dude, what if we just all listed our moments like super high? like how did I not think of that? It's like, well, because you can't have a coordinated effort with hundreds of thousands of users to all do that.
I know this would be far more feasible if it was like a sub 1,000 mint on this. I feel like we could make it work, but getting 2,500 people from all over the world in the same spot is not easy.
No, and like you can even look at some of these moments that are very rare, and even those 199 people or 49 people can't get on the same page with how to list it.
Yeah, I mean, we're just going to the grave with them though, right? With these Cool Cats, like I know I'm seeing like it's devastating, but saw like Bogdan Bogdanovic on there for like $6 this morning. I'm like, oh my god, Cool Cats going for $6.
What is the sentiment right now on that LaMelo reward? Because I don't have my finger on the pulse, because what it used to be was his debut moment sucks. It's just this lame assist that more or less features Gordon Hayward. This is going to be the LaMelo moment that people want from his rookie year. Is that hopium or take still out there? Have other LaMelo moments surpassed it? Is the LaMelo base still what we want? Like, where are people at on that?
Yeah, I think it's pretty split. I think there's a group of people, shout out Dustin, who he actually values the Rising Star a little bit more than the Top Shot debut, mainly because the moment itself. He just is like, that debut moment sucks. And it's out of 4,000. The rare moments out of 2021, they're basically the same price. I don't know though. I don't know what's going to happen, right? So they're speculating it's going to be, I think On the Moment said somewhere around 2,500 completed. So it's kind of like in between the debut and the Rising Star. I don't know. It feels like they're all going to be right around the same price. We had this conversation, like, and I don't even know if it makes sense, but I think because LaMelo has the chance to be like one of the, like a generational, like one of the best players of our time right now, it feels like having the debut moment makes more sense. Where like Anthony Edwards, I'd rather have that Rising Stars reward moment versus his debut moment, only because I don't think he has the chance to be like what LaMelo has the chance to be. And that moment is it's awesome. Like that dunk is incredible.
Yeah, because I do think it's a sliding scale of like what's more valuable, the first moment, the scarcity element, or can the moment be so cool that it transcends all of those things, which I think in the Anthony Edwards dunk, that moment, that is the Anthony Edwards moment from his rookie year. That's what everyone's going to remember. I guess with like, what do you think of the LaMelo Cool Cats challenge moment itself? Like, do you think that's a cool moment?
Let me see. Let me pull it up. I mean, it's fine. I think it's cooler than the ones that he has so far. So I'll give him that. It was weird. There was a lot of like disdain for it right away. A lot of people were like, "Oh, this moment sucks," and I don't think it sucks. I mean, I think it might be goaltending, and so that's kind of funny.
Dude, that would be a good like content series of just going through all the moments, being like, this one was a travel, this was a foul, just like all of the asterisk moments.
Yeah. Oh, let me go over to Top Shot. That Kelsey was saying we need that. We need like a bloopers pack, or she also wanted a reactions pack where like there was a jaw dunk a while back. Here's the moment right here. It is pretty close to goaltending. But the stare down on Sabonis is pretty nice.
Yeah.
Like it's really close to goaltending.
Another thing I think about with moments, and again, I don't watch enough NBA, so I don't have my takes here aren't as refined, but I like moments that are like sum up the player, like it reflects like their overall style. Like when you get a Kyrie moment, you want him like breaking someone's ankles, dribbling all around. Like, tell me if I'm wrong, but that LaMelo moment, like some like rebound putback dunk artist, that's not what he's going to ultimately be known for.
No, you could talk me into a step back three over his brother. Like that was cool. But ultimately I want full court passes. That's what I want. I want him catching a rebound and chucking it like as time expires and it's laid in by Rozier or Graham or something.
And I'm sure there were timeline stuff, but that bowling ball full court, that would have been a sick reward for that.
Exactly. And I think that's a great point, especially when you think about the hollows too. You know, like the hollow is supposed to be like your best plays from your best players of the year, whatever. That like those moments should be used where, again, I keep going back to the Tobias Harris where it's like this weird assist to Tyrese Maxey. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And I think another thing too, with now that there are so many moments, I think you can get away with not like the best player, just every moment being some transcendent, super cool thing. But I do think you have to offset when you rip, you know, the Ish Smith, the perennial punching bag, when you rip like a moment from a player that you're not excited about, that moment better be really cool. Like I want to see the curation being like, yes, he's not a top 100 player in the NBA, but this was super, super sick. Like there has to be some justification for it other than just like having a bunch of footage and you're like, all right, we're cranking them out.
Yeah. What are your thoughts too? I understand they have to do it, right? Because I think the hollow is supposed to be, I might be making this up, but I think the hollow is like the three best players from each team get a hollow. I think I might now.
That sounds right. I don't know the actual. I do remember hearing something like that.
Something along those lines. Because I go back to Dustin, who he got a hollow, and I think he ripped his MGLEs were DeAndre Jordan, 2 Goran Dragic's, and then his hollow was Josh Jackson from the Pistons, and he was kind of like, why make this pack? Like why is Josh Jackson a hollow? And I guess if you have to need the 3 best players from each team, I guess you do need Josh Jackson because the Pistons suck. But I feel like we can raise the floor on the hollow moments. I'm not saying everything needs to be worth 10 grand, but Josh Jackson is that's a tough scene.
I mean, you got to have those packs because that's how people know that it's truly a randomized algorithm. You know, we can't get the conspiracy theorists out here being like Top Shot is trying to create these gift basket of packs where there's one good tier player, one, you know, and I saw, what was it too? There was a series, people were getting like 3 of the same moment in some of their base packs. And there's all kinds of stuff too about like randomization out there. I forget the example I heard, but a site had to actually make their stuff less random because people were convinced that it wasn't random because there were 3 of the same thing. I can't remember the specific example, but just it's funny that imagining Top Shot having to be like, we're actually going to have to add code to make sure 3 of the same moments don't get in here, which is actually us messing with the randomizer.
Right. That's funny. Jack just shouting. Yeah, it's a good point. Moments from lesser known players have to have some sick plays. And I will say that Josh Jackson was actually a pretty good dunk.
Yeah.
It's just, and I get it. No one wants to rip a Josh Jackson. No disrespect, Josh, but it's not what we're rooting for here.
Yeah. Who was it too? Who's the guy involved in Top Shot? And I think it was Josh Hart, right? Like he was on like the poster end of so many moments, despite being like so hype on Top Shot.
Yeah, and he's just getting leveled. I wanted to ask too, are you as we're approaching football season, are you excited or nervous about the idea of like the Top Shot equivalent for the NFL? And I say nervous just because of the amount of time that will end up taking from your life.
Yeah, I'm not nervous. I think it'd be a fun thing to have like alongside DFS and season long. And also just I would be overwhelmed with it in season, but I think I would be very excited to have it, because we already have with like Dynasty and the draft and stuff. There's stuff that can carry you year round. I think to have like a really vibrant collectible market would be super fun because we basically have it as like Dynasty and the market to kind of play out our, long-term beliefs on these players. So no, I'm excited for it. I'll be even more excited if it is a Dapper product. I think my take on it is ultimately it would hurt the Top Shot market because people would sell some stuff off to get some NFL moments. But I think long-term it would be really good to have. I assume you'd be able to make some trades across the different sites just being able to use your money in both platforms. I think is like a rising tide that would lift everything.
Exactly. Yeah, I do. I think, and the same thing. I think we'll see a little bit with UFC, but not at the the like volume we'd see it with the NFL, where I do think it comes down initially. But you're right. Like it'll rise everything especially if you're able to do that cross platforms. That would be really cool. That would be really cool.
And I think it'll be fun too because the Top Shot with Dapper, that was like the wild, wild west. Like everyone was learning about this for the first time. Everyone's going to come in a lot smarter with the NFL stuff. Like people are going to know what they want. They're going to know what's going to hold up during a bear market, based on that. We're going to know kind of how Dapper generally wants to handle the rollout of this stuff. And so I think the market will be much, much more efficient because we've all learned a lot through these past few months.
I know. I can't wait to see that. I do think it would be a sharper community. Although that being said, I don't know. I don't. Have you messed with the WPT NFTs at all?
No, only like literally my only introduction to this is listening to you on that podcast and you telling me that. I think I forgot to respond to your GChat message where you're like, dude, WPT NFTs are kind of sick. And I was like, I don't think I can have this conversation right now.
So the thing that kills me, the moments are like 3 minutes long. It's like
holy cow. So it's just like a video clip of like a full hand basically.
But yeah, here, I'll actually pull it up. We're not going to watch one or the whole thing. But you know what was wild is that I accidentally deposited twice on there, which was not the plan. And you can't withdraw yet. So listen, this is, we normally do like we don't do financial advice. Here's some financial advice. Don't get involved in WPT beta.
Oh, wow. You really turned on them. I thought you were going to become a WPT NFT influencer.
I'm in on it. I don't think anyone else should be, is where I'm at. But all right. So
okay, Scotty Win, baby. Let's go.
Scotty Win. We're going to show the beginning of the moment, and then I'm not sharing audio, but just know there's full commentary here. Full commentary on this. And it looks kind of sick. Let's 3 minutes to 45 seconds. Now, Pete, if you had this moment and you open it, do you think Scotty Win wins?
I would sure hope so. Because all Scotty does is win, baby. So I mean, a moment he has to be winning, right?
Let's go down to here. Let's even move it a little bit further. This is Scotty Win getting knocked out in fourth place.
Just the world's biggest Scotty Win super fan. I finally got a Scotty Win moment. No, I don't want to be reminded of one of the worst days of my life when Scotty Win got busted by Daniel Negreanu in this tournament.
It's hilarious. Also, they don't have a marketplace set up yet.
Yeah. Someone in your chat says this is actually a coordinated effort by you to keep them all away from WPT while you accumulate all of the moments. Is this true?
Yeah, this is true. I'm trying to be, I can't be a poker shark, but I'm trying to be a poker NFT shark.
Do they have, I feel like if I did, I'm not buying one of these. If I did, I would want a Gus Hansen old school WPT moment. Do they have any on there?
So they don't have Gus Hansen yet, but let's see what we've got in the moments here. So we'll look at the legendary. They've got, I think a Negreanu. Yeah. So it's Esfandiari, Negreanu, Art Papazan, Darren Elias, and then Carlos
Oh, Carlos
Mortensen.
Mortensen, my Spaniard there.
Carlos Mortensen, who famously took $1,000 from me.
Wait, I think I've heard this story, but remind me again.
I was playing on PokerStars before, and I was playing way out of my league, and I didn't realize that his user. I like found out after that the username that had just beaten me was Carlos Mortensen, and I was like, awesome.
There you go. There you go.
Awesome. Oh man! Also, speaking of poker, I wanted that had a nice little comeback for like the first half of the pandemic. I feel like everybody got jacked up about online poker. We're like, we're gonna get back into this now.
Yeah, that I remember because we did the Roto Grinders poker tournament on Global Poker, and it was also like that was like 3 weeks into the pandemic, and it was like the sense of urgency for like how to occupy our time was like we need an event, we need to play poker, like it felt like how you look forward to a weekend trip with your friends. That's how much we needed an event like that. Yeah, and we were. I don't even think in our little poker club, I think we still need to settle up on that.
We have not settled up. We have not settled up. And I think there was like 7 of us total and 3 people are down. And I thought about that the other day when I was going through my old Google Docs, and I was like, it kind of feels tough to reach out a year later after the situation that we're in and being like, hey man, you owe $87 sprinkled around 3 people.
Let's commit to settling that up. I know that stuff always happens. We keep joking on Club Top Shot. We've been playing a lot and things, and we're now going like 2 months on a game where we haven't settled up. Andy still owes me $200, and I was thinking, Andy, if we would have just yield farmed that back when you initially owed me, you now technically probably owe me like $5,000.
With not to say that you personally profited off of the pandemic, Pete, but do you think you'd be in the situation you're in right now without because I know you really kicked it into high gear once. Specifically, I feel like LOLs was the first thing I saw where it was like, holy shit, like you're really grinding with the time that we've been given. Yeah,
that was. I mean, and LOLs really was. That in a nutshell, because our first night that we did LOLs was the night Rudy Gobert shut down the NBA, because I have my reaction on air. I was like playing NBA DFS because I was like, oh yeah, we'll do the show. I'll have a little sweat here. Like made it, 1.5 games before the entire thing got shut down. And was doing that every Wednesday since then. And I definitely wouldn't have been in the spot I am now, because it was just that is true. I would still be at my job. It allowed me to do a ton of streaming. It's funny thinking back to some of the stuff. Someone reminded me and CSU Ram were doing the quarantine plank shows where we were just like playing games and doing planks and ab workouts on Periscope. And then thank God StreamYard came into our lives and made everything so much easier.
I know. It is kind of crazy to think, like, I think about where I was at the beginning of this versus where I am now. And I remember you gave me, I think, this advice like a long time ago. And this is just about like tweeting, about like creating a more specific lane versus sprinkling a little bit of stuff like everywhere. And it's been cool seeing that like work for you in a way where you've like the premier comedian in the fantasy football streets, who have now have gone past comedian. Like you're actually doing real fantasy football stuff. Like you are an analyst now, Pete.
I would prefer not to be. I think it was on the Swolecast yesterday. Kitchen was asking me if I was going to go full tout now, and I'm going to try my hardest not to. There are people who do that much better than me. But yeah, I think in general with content, like what happens is lots of people have the talent and the skill set to do that. And they say like, oh, what works for other people? I want to try to emulate that. And then you get a bunch of people doing like the exact same kind of stuff. And it's like, it's more uncomfortable to do something unique because you're like, I don't even know if there's a market for this. But ultimately people are going to gravitate toward your unique sensibilities, you bringing something that other people can't. But that's also a very scary thing, like trying to do fantasy football comedy for years and years when you don't know if there's a market for it, but at least you're having fun along the way. Yeah, no, I've learned like that. I think I found this out after the fact. I can't bring expertise to like, that's just not my skill set. Like when I'm thinking about like stuff that On the Moment does and Moment Ranks does, where they're like creating really, really sharp content. And that's just not in my bag. But like, I like the idea of being able to create an environment where people just come hang and have a good time. And
and maybe they learn something from someone else we bring on. But yeah, I've enjoyed that quite a bit.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. We've gotten some criticism on Club Top Shot of like, oh, you guys are only talking about, you know, these sets and expensive things, and they're not. And my thought too is like, there should be room across the Top Shot content ecosystem for all this stuff. There should be shows that are catered toward users who say only want to spend up to like $100 on a moment. There should be stuff that caters to the high end. There should be entertainment. There should be analytics. Like that's what makes this ecosystem so good. And so it's always like, if the show's not for you, that's fine. Like there are other shows out there where you can get your flavor of Top Shot. And ultimately, like I enjoy a lot of the flavors, but if you only enjoy one, like I bet I can find a show that's specifically just for you.
Right. It's so funny too, when you say that. Anytime we talk about a moment that's worth more than like $1,500, people are like, "Oh, I thought this was the minnow vault. What are we doing talking about high end buys? This is where the small fish live." Because that's like what we've established. Like, hey, none of us have bags. None of us have like big bags in here yet.
And I also think it's also just a general problem with like being myopic, only seeing things for how does this specifically affect me? Like I saw Galaxy Brainers in Discord saying like the new, you know, influencer referral system for Top Shot isn't like a net good. And I'm like, are you fucking crazy? Yeah. Like literally the number one customer acquisition tool is having influencers and referrals and deposit bonuses, stuff like this. Like this is the oldest trick in the book. Like relax, it's good for you. And I think the same thing too, like even if I didn't have the money, I don't have the money to buy cosmics and stuff, but knowing what the super sharp whales think and where they want to have skin in the game, that to me is a signal for where the rest of the market might follow. So like, I think you can learn all kinds of stuff, and it goes in the reverse direction. Those guys can learn from where's the movement on the low end. What $3 moments are popping? Oh, are players getting steamed based on performance? Like, I think the whole market can learn from each other. And just because it's not directly applicable to your purchases doesn't mean it's relevant.
Yeah, it's the same thing too with like daily fantasy sports, where I don't need someone to tell me exactly who to play, but I do like the idea of learning how sharp people are building their lineups, like what they're doing to be different, like the whole construction process. I feel like or the lineup construction process is helpful. And I think that's similar in the way, like seeing what like guys like Andy and MBL and all the sharps and whales out there making moves. It's like we can learn from that. Maybe it doesn't apply directly because we don't have the money to do it there, but like you can find ways to apply that same methodology into, you know, a smaller fishbowl.
Yeah. And it's like, think about poker, right? Like what's all the stuff that makes it onto poker? These are super high stakes tournaments, super high stakes cash games. A small poker player, it's not like I'm going to boycott these because they're not playing the stakes I'm playing. It's the same principles, the same game. You can apply it to your home game. And maybe the spots and the competition isn't the same, but we're still under the same umbrella. It's just different stakes.
Exactly. And I want to go back to the referral thing that you talked about too. It's so funny because I feel like a lot of us learned of Top Shot from influencers or content creators, right? Like that's how I found out about it. I feel a lot of people found out through that. So the idea of like incentivizing those people to talk about it more only brings more people in. So like, sure, are you frustrated that a couple of influencers have like $70 more in their Dapper balance? Yeah, but like I promise that's net good. I promise.
I know. I mean, it became a bit, but like people were seriously offended when Jacob came on Club Top Shot that he gave me two $9 base packs. It was like, guys, I'm not moving the market like Bales did, but there were a lot of people watching those streams who were intrigued. And if you're telling me the customer acquisition cost for Dapper is giving me $18 in packs and other people getting to see how much fun I'm having opening them on stream, that is ultimately good for you and your bags. It's like, I just don't know what kind of myopia you have to be like, this isn't good for all of us. But man, people love getting mad at that stuff.
Yeah, and I get it. I think they'd probably be less mad if the market was up, right? And I think everyone is just on edge right now because they're, you know, especially because most of the people came in as the boom was happening, bought at the top, and now we're like, we're way down there. So I get the frustration, but like this ultimately is good. Like we can't be mad at everything that gets thrown out there because then it's like boy who cried wolf. Then like nothing counts. Nothing counts if we're mad at everything.
Well, even I saw some like random influencers who had their Top Shot referral code. And first of all, I was like, where was my referral code back in January? Think about how much more rich Bales would be if he had a promo code in his
Oh my
Substack
God.
article. I mean,
so many horsies.
and I didn't know these guys. A couple of the guys who are like the influencers, and my first gut reaction was like, who the hell are these guys? But then I'm like, no, good. Like, get this out to their random followers that don't know about Top Shot. Give referral codes to fucking everybody. That's what Underdog did. They'll give everybody as a referral code. Like, you should be incentivized to share how like fun this is, and you should get a little kickback for your influencer efforts.
Yeah, I see it. Pete, I actually think it's a sweet spot to see that the influencers are happening, like that they're getting the promo codes, but that you're not getting it. Because then the hate can't be directed at you. You're like, yeah, I'm one of you guys. I'm one of the people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm at the point too where it's like, if I get a Top Shot promo code, I mean, everyone at this point who follows me either is way out on Top Shot or already way in. Like, there's not much middle ground.
Yeah, I'm sure you have a handful of followers that have gone into settings and have muted Top Shot packs when.
I was talking about that. We were busting Kitchen's balls on the Swolecast yesterday for his engagement being low on Twitter, and I was talking about like when I bounce around from thing to thing so much, it's like you alienate large subsets of that. Like, I've had some like really good like CryptoPunk jokes on my Twitter, but because like all the Ethereum CryptoPunk people don't follow me, and because a bunch of my fantasy people don't give a shit, like I'm like, come on, these should have done better. Like, these are good, but I'm like trying to like be in 9 different lanes at once.
There's no better feeling for a comedian than like laying a perfect joke and then being like, guys, come on. This is really good.
You know what the equivalent in real life would be? It'd be like doing fantasy football comedy improv show at an improv theater with people who don't care about fantasy football, because we've done that, Mike.
We've done that. I feel like haven't you done full stand, or did you do stand up as the Mans?
I did stand up as the Mans. Yeah.
Yeah.
We did more sketches for fantasy football comedy hour. We had Connor Allen being John Gruden during a cooking segment. That was a good one.
Jeff Perry as Scott Hansen peeing during the red zone, right?
Yeah. Man, those were live comedy. Although you're getting back into the live comedy streets, right?
Yeah, weather permitting, back tomorrow. We've been doing like a weekly stand-up show outdoors in Midtown. It's so funny. I think everybody is so starved for any sort of live entertainment that the bar for success is far lower than it used to be, especially for stand-up, because stand-up can just be like brutal. But everyone is just like, this is the best. We love this. So it's been good. And now we're seeing some like indoor stuff pop up. There's signs of life. It really does feel like New York City is going to be, between the Knicks and the playoffs, between the weather getting better and then vaccines rolling out, like there's going to be a lot of alcohol consumed and a lot of sex to be had, I would imagine, in the New York City streets. Are
you going to try to get to any NBA playoff games? I had massive FOMO of a bunch of the club guys went to the Knicks game the other day.
I know. I mean, speaking of having bags, like those Knicks tickets are expensive. What's so funny is the Nets are like $100 and the Knicks are like 700 to like low entry point to get in. So I think I'm interested in a Nets game once the Celtics are out. I'm not going to a Celtics game. I'm so out on that team right now. I don't want to see it. So I'm excited. Hopefully the second round, Nets Bucks. I'll go see that.
Yeah. I would definitely like to see a game. We went to Barclays, what was it, 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
And the atmosphere was fine, but I assume the playoff atmosphere would be on a whole nother level.
Yeah, you need to get Club Top Shot in Barclays.
Yeah, right. I do want to come down to New York. Now I got so many hang out with you, Pat, Club Top Shot crew. I think we'd have a lot of fun.
Yeah, I would love that. Love to, and to physically meet those guys would be great. I don't know why I had to say physically. I mean, I haven't virtually met them either, so just could have said met them.
Yeah. Physically sounds like sounds like you're gonna get cease and desist.
It sounds like Sex in the Streets. That's what it sounds like.
New York's crazy, man.
The rent is cheaper in New York for now. I guess so. You know what's funny? Everybody was saying that. Everybody was saying that was going to like go way down, and I'm not seeing it yet. I'm not seeing it. It did empty out though. I will say that. I'll be curious to see if people filter back in now that it's getting a little safer.
I assume it would have been like if you were able to lock in a year lease like right after everyone had left, But now the landlords are like, well, we're back to new. I don't know why they would offer a discount at this point.
We're in this wild, I don't even know if I should say this publicly, but we're in this wild situation where our lease went up and like no one talked about it. And we didn't renew it because we were like, this was still mid-pandemic. We're like, we don't know what it's going to look like. And it's nice to have that easy out. But now it's been like 7 months of just like no lease. So I feel like that's something we need to address at some point.
You're just month to month.
But it was never discussed. We were locked into a year lease. Then the lease ran up, and like I think he was nervous we were going to leave, and so he was like, "I'm not going to bring it up." And we were like, "We don't want to lock into a year because like who knows what's going to happen."
That actually doesn't sound like the worst spot to be in, assuming he's a chill landlord. He
is. He's good. I like that we're talking about my landlord right now. This is why the people are here.
It's the natural evolution. You can only talk about Top Shot so much, Mike. You're pushing it.
I really am pushing it. I really am pushing it. I'm sure you felt this way, although this is how you discovered LOLs too. I don't know what this is going to look like in the off season, both for Top Shot and for myself. I don't know if people want daily content on Top Shot in the off season, but who knows? We'll have Summer League. We'll have Run It Back. We'll have lots of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we need to talk more about Summer League. The club guys have been talking about. I think we're honing in on some dates. So we got to. And I know, have you? Hopefully, I'm not blowing up your spot. Have you guys been talking about this?
Yeah, we've been talking about it. We actually have a guy in the Discord, Brian Collins. Shout out Brian, who's trying to hook us up with some travel plans. So he's already got a rate for us and everything. So we're ready.
Wow. There you go. You guys have your own. What are they even called? I forget. What are they called now? Travel agents?
I think travel agent. Yeah.
Okay. It's been so long since that term has been relevant that I didn't even remember what it was called.
We gotta share this because when I announced you were coming on, a deep threat was like, finally we'll learn if Mike is 5'7", because I think they believe I'm a little person.
What's their take here?
They just think I said I was 5'7", and the people aren't believing it. They think I'm a lot shorter than 5'7".
Should I find a picture of us next to each other here?
Yeah, I saw you immediately go to the computer, and I was nervous what you would be pulling up.
No, I was just like, I feel like there has to be one from our trip to Colorado.
I would think so.
The Red Rocks photo isn't a good one. That's like a downward. What? Maybe do we have a photo from Viceroy of us on stage together?
Oh wow! Shout out Viceroy. Shout out the Improv Boston crew.
What?
R.I.P. Oh, I guess it's back.
Okay, here's one. This is actually a good one. Let me. I'll share my screen here because I am a pro here, and you could put this up.
Here we go. Wow.
So if we zoom in here on Mike, and there I am behind. I don't know if this is helping your cause. I'm 6'1". Is the foreground? I don't know. What is this helping?
I think so. This is 5'7" on it. This is 5'7" on it. I feel like no one gives a shit, but I feel like normally we don't all perform with the same shirt on. I feel like we gotta say that one.
We normally look much cooler when we're doing live improv comedy. This was an exception. No, this was like our final show, right?
This was, yeah. I had already moved to New York at this time. I had traveled back for this. Mike, God damn it.
Yeah, this isn't working out for you. I need to find a photo where you're looking taller here.
And this is why I brought you on today. I was like, I just need someone to say that I'm that tall.
I'll go back to the lab, and if I can find
Josh.
Yeah,
that was it. That was Improv Boston in Central Square, which I think is still there. I think, or the space might be gone, but there still exists. I'm not entirely sure what's happening.
I have no idea, man.
Muggsy Zakarian.
Wow.
There we go. Shout out Dustin.
There you go. Yeah. We will work hard to find a photo that makes Mike look 6'5".
Yeah. Thank you. That's all we're looking for. That's all we're looking for. Oh man. All right, Pete, I won't take any more of your time, but I feel like we have to plug some stuff, right? So you have LOLs on Wednesday nights at 8:00 Eastern, right?
Yeah, that's kind of like a DFS sports betting, whatever we feel like talking about show. If you guys want to get some Top Shot content, we do Club Top Shot every Tuesday night. And I don't know. I do a ton of shows, been getting in the best ball streets here. If you guys are interested on signing up on Underdog, new users, Mike, get a $25 bonus cash with promo code Pete. And now that I'm unemployed, I really need to get that promo code out there.
I feel like I need to talk to you offline because I didn't do it today, but I normally start every show with "Sponsor Me, You Cowards," and you are the person who's cornered the sponsorship market. So I feel like I'm going to need your help getting a coffee sponsor.
How much would it cost to I pay you to sponsor Team Hold, sponsoring Underdog promo code Pete? Yeah. So just like sponsoring a sponsor. I mean, let's maybe talk about that.
This is very close to a pyramid scheme of sponsoring.
That would be just hilarious if you're like, good morning, everyone. We are sponsored by Peter Overzet via Underdog. Use promo code Pete.
I think we might have to start doing that until we get a sponsorship. Until we get it. That's where we're going. I also threw Pete's YouTube channel in the show notes. So check that out. Follow Pete. He does all the stuff. Probably threads the needle of comedy and fantasy, Top Shot, crypto world. So he's a good follow. So check out Pete. Pete, thanks for doing the show, man. Good to just hang out. I feel like I'm using this platform now to just like catch up with my friends. So this is good.
That's what all the LA comedy people used to say. They were like, the only time I hang out with my friends are if we get to do a podcast. So I mean, we're turning into full-time content creators who can only interact over a podcast. But we got together for dinner a few weeks ago, so that counted. That's true.
Blew a lot of people's minds when you tweeted the photo out. A lot of people lost their shit.
Yeah, dude. I mean, Mike out in the wild. I should have made you stand up and got a tape measure.
No matter how old I get, how much time passes, I will always be dunked on for being short. And guys, listen, it's a skill set I bring to the table. All right. I think as we go, I feel like we do have to. I got to do some business too. So we're doing the Moment Rank show for free today at 12:30. Also, the 89 Cavs is tonight. All the information's in the show notes, so just do all that shit. And Pete, because this is your first time on and we haven't done it yet, I think we got to get out of here with the PJ Washington drop.
Oh yeah, I love this. I'm excited. Now I get to watch it, front row seat. Let's do it. Thanks for having me on today.
Thanks, man.
PJ Washington.